Hello, everyone. Happy Friday. Um, we are in for an exciting conversation here with Angel. Um, let's figure out how to do this. Hello.
Gotta love technology.
Every time I'm like, what is happening? You look amazing.
How are you? Oh, thank you.
I'm doing
I clean up.
well.
I clean up pretty good sometimes.
I didn't get the memo that we were going all in for this.
Oh no, this is. Trust me, no, it's just not. I threw some glasses on and some Rihanna fancy lip gloss.
Yeah, I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. Good. It's been a busy morning. I just got off as the event.
Okay.
That was not on my calendar when we scheduled this, and I was like, "Oh, this is really cool," because it kind of flows into it. Because we were talking about probably a lot of very similar subjects that we're going to talk about today.
Yeah,
Yeah.
great. Well, let's get started. Welcome, everyone. My name is Elizabeth. I'm here from Eden Environments. My pronouns are they, them, theirs. And just a quick intro about Eden Environments. We're focused on creating inclusive and sustainable spaces. We do this with a human-centric design strategy, and one of the things that we're focused on is size-inclusive design. So really designing for larger and fat bodies and spaces, and thinking about how we can analyze seating, walkways, things like that, so that everyone feels comfortable in the space and it's not a barrier to access.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's perfect because it falls right in line with what I'm all about. If you know me, if you follow me, you know that I'm all about that, exactly what she just explained. And I created Sacred Space for Fat Bodies initially as a selfish endeavor because I was looking for a space to get self-care treatment like massages and, nails and hair and all that good stuff. And it's just such an issue for people who are in larger bodies, especially super fat and thin fat people.
Mm-hmm.
So I decided to create a space myself and went about getting all the information that I could around getting a capacity, a massage table that was for a larger capacity for massages, and all seating and even robes and things like that, just for people who are in larger bodies, because also often we don't have that. If you go to the average spa, for example, and you try to wear a robe, we all know, even in average sized bodies, it's an issue. Table capacities, like it's really scary when you're a larger person and you want to get on the table to get a service and you can't get it. So because your weight is exceeds the capacities. So I wanted to create that space for myself and for others with the same issues. I decided to do that in the heart of the pandemic, unfortunately, and it was really hard not just to find people who would want to come or would be willing to take the risk, but also people who wanted to actually give the service to service providers. And so I kind of took a hard pivot and became online, kind of more community advocacy and liberation focused. And that's kind of where I have been sitting now for the last, I'll say, year and a half. And it's opened up a lot of, um, I guess, need, like the clarity for the needs that exist. And that's how I found Elizabeth, because it's exactly what they have been working on. And so our desires and goals really align. And so I'm really glad to be here talking to you today about it.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I really am thrilled that we connected. And it's been, yeah, just fun to also get to know you
Yeah,
on a personal level, as
yeah,
well as collaborating with our businesses
yeah.
here. And I think one thing that you talk about a lot is like the importance of this, and really bringing in your personal story. And so I thought it would be helpful if we kind of shared just, I'm sure we both have lots of stories about times that being in a space has not felt comfortable and has not been accommodating. But just like maybe one or two little short anecdotes about that, if you have them.
Well, we talk self-care is like huge to me, which I already explained, but there's a situation that kind of precipitated my desire to create these spaces. And one was I went to a nail shop in a strip mall, like one many of us have probably gone to, and I wanted to get a pedicure. So I got up in the chair, like one of those high chairs with the basin at the bottom that's attached. And the owner of the shop, when they saw me in the chair, came running like, no, 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 get out of that chair. You're going to break my chair, And it was so embarrassing. The shop was full. It was like a Friday afternoon, like before the weekend. And I was mortified. And what they ended up doing was bringing one of those kind of like Walgreens type basins, like the foot fixer type things you can buy at the drugstore. And someone like did my feet to the side in a chair. So it got done, but it was just humiliating, you know. Gosh, one time I went to a local seafood restaurant and there was only bar seating. And for a larger person, it's hard to use those chairs and the high top tables and things like that. And so I've got to the point now to where I'm pretty bold and I try to create space wherever I go. And so I just asked him to bring, there was like an armchair, like sitting off the bar. And I was like, bring that over. So I'm sitting at the bar with my friends in an armchair, doing what I got to do because that's what you have to do when you go in space and there's not, accommodation or accessibility. But we shouldn't have to do that, And so there are multiple. I remember I fell at work once and I went to the workman's comp doctor. And that's a whole other subject. But I was in the exam room, and they wouldn't allow me to sit on the table because they said I had a 350-pound weight limit. So I'm hurt, and I'm standing, right? And so I lean on the table because I'm hurt, because I've fallen. And the nurse says, please don't break my table. Don't lean on my table. It has a weight limit. I'm leaning. I'm not even sitting on it, right? And so those are just a few. I have a book of them, but it just kind of like shows you the reason why, this is my experience. There are multiple, there are myriad experiences by people who are larger. And this is why this is needed.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for sharing that. Great examples that it doesn't need to be that way.
No.
Like if they would have considered your needs ahead of time, or even were more adaptive in the moment, like that, and restored some respect in those moments and dignity. I think that's really what it feels like we're advocating for in these spaces. Story that comes to mind for me, a friend was showing me around her tiny home, which seemed like really cool concepts. Like, I like sustainability, but when she was trying to show me her, like, the bedroom, you have to go up these really narrow stairs, and like quickly realized I just like couldn't go up those stairs for the rest of that tour, and it was this really similar feeling of embarrassment and some shame, like not being able to do it. I think she handled it pretty well. But still, I think that sticks out in my mind. Like, I can't go in every space that other people can go in and feel that stress. Like, when I'm looking at chairs, like, is this going to hold me? Or does it look too narrow if their armrests are like too close together? I have pretty wide hips, and so that's definitely like something I'm considering as I'm navigating spaces.
Yeah. It's a real issue.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think that's what we are trying to tackle here together, and partnering up to bring some solutions into the world that would help people like us, we know we're not alone in these experiences, and it's important to have those accessible spaces. So do you want to talk a little bit about what we're doing?
Yeah, so what we're trying to do is um, offer a person, and I want to really give some clarity around this because I tend to think of self-care, I tend to think of health, I tend to healthcare, so to speak. But I want people to understand that no matter where you go, and no matter what space you're in, if you want it to be truly accessible to everybody, to every human, you have an opportunity. There is always room to grow. And so what we want to do is, if you have a space that you want to really make accessible to people, to any person that comes into it, we want to provide you with the opportunity to first assess the space that you currently have, kind of just break it down and go through what are some of the needs and areas of improvement that can happen in that space. And then we want, and I'll work on that with you. I'll talk to you about kind of like what your space feels like, what's the culture of your space, how you want it to be accessible, how you want it to be inclusive, what are the current challenges that you're facing, no matter what it is. And then what Elizabeth can come in and do, and actually, once we figure out what that space needs, work with you to actually walk through the steps of recreating that space to make it be what you envision it to be, and truly inclusive and truly accessible. And it sounds overwhelming. It sounds expensive. It sounds all these things, but we want to be with you. It can be something that's phased out. You know, the realistic way to look at it is that it's not something that you can say, okay, well, you know, wave a magic wand and all of a sudden my space is what it needs to be. We want to work with you over time and through a process to create the space. And it could be a doctor's office. It could be a restaurant. It could be your personal movement or yoga studio or whatever it is. Whatever your space is, it could be any space that you have that you use and in which you serve human beings. We want to help you, and we want to help one person right now initially at a very low cost to provide these services to you. And just kind of get a feel for who we are and what we do and why we do it. And Elizabeth's going to be hands-on with you to like show you and give you examples and mock-ups and all the stuff that is needed to get this done for you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was a great explanation. So we're looking for businesses who have a physical space and are interested in us helping. We can do this virtually, or if you're in the DMV area, that would also be helpful. And if you're on here listening to this is something that's exciting, that you feel passionate about, and you know some local businesses that could benefit, we'd love to just have a conversation with them, see if we're a good match, and start bringing this accessible design into the world.
Yes, most definitely. And like I said, it can seem overwhelming, but once you begin, if you really have a heart and a desire to make your space accessible, you'll see that it's manageable, that you can bite it off in small pieces, that you can even just learn a lot about what it even means. Even if you're unclear on why it is that you need to do this, but you feel like it's something you need to investigate, I'm here to talk about all of that, and to like really see how you can begin just the initial steps of creating a truly accessible, not just accessible, but welcoming, inviting. It's not just about providing space for people who are super fat and finna fat, who are disabled. It's not just about providing a space and saying, here you go, okay, you can get in. You know, you made it in the door. It's about the art on your wall, like the stock, photography. Do people, when they see you or when they see the environment that you're in, do they see themselves? Are they reflected in what you want to do? Do they feel like that you're a person that can be helped in this business or organization or office? That's what we're getting at. We want to like kind of really drill down to the necessity of this. So that's we want to help you throughout the expanse of this undertaking, so that you don't feel like you're alone and just trying to figure it all out.
Yeah, absolutely. That's really well said.
Yeah.
Yeah, like really considering people's needs before they walk into that
Mhm.
space. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And it doesn't have to be all or nothing. Like I said, it's a process, and we
Yeah,
want to be with you every step of the way.
absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. So we just want to open it up a little bit here if anyone has any questions about things that we've said. And of course, both of us are open to offline
Mhm.
conversations. You can DM us anything that you're curious about. And if this just like sounds a little bit interesting, but you're not sure, please reach out so that we can talk to you. Um, because it does not need to be overwhelming. We really
Yes.
are here for you, and we will be your support team. We will cheer you on, and we will give you the guidance that's needed to make your space better.
And please do, like they said, if you know of a business that you frequent that could be improved, you love it, you know the owners, or have some sort of rapport relationship with them, and you feel like they could benefit, and you feel like they respect you and really have a heart to change and to make their space accessible, let them know who we are and what we do. Like you said, they said, like Elizabeth said, we're happy to reach out and have a conversation and to talk about first steps. So don't hesitate. And I think that the difficulty that comes with this type of undertaking is that people just have questions and don't know, um, don't understand why it's necessary, or maybe have some idea why it's necessary but don't know how to begin. Whatever the case may be, we want to make sure that we're covering all that for you.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Great. I don't know that I have any closing thoughts. I feel like we said it
Yeah,
all. Talked about what's important and what we're planning on doing. So
yes,
looking forward to hearing from some
yes,
people.
most definitely. DM us. Just reach out to us. Come in the comments. I think you're going to post this, right? This video,
Yes, if
possibly. We can figure it out. If you post it, you can make comments on this video. Whatever the case may be, we'll get back to you and kind of just talk to you about it.
yeah, awesome. Thank you so much,
Thank
Angel. Always enjoy
you. Thank you.
talk with you.
Take care.
All right,
Bye.
bye.